Ethan Cole had always thought he knew what a quiet life meant. He had worked as a diplomat for years, traveling to different planets, meeting alien leaders, and negotiating small trade deals. But nothing in his experience had prepared him for the Xyrathi Empire. The moment his shuttle approached the massive, shining towers of the capital, he felt the weight of 1,000 eyes watching him. The Xyrathi people were known across the galaxy as strict, proud, and untrusting of outsiders, especially humans. Ethan stepped out onto the landing platform and felt the alien sun warm his face. He adjusted his uniform and took a deep breath. His mission was simple, at least on paper. Deliver a peace message from Earth, attend a royal gathering, and return home. But the moment he walked through the grand palace doors, he realized that simplicity was a lie. The palace was immense, with walls that seemed to glow with light from within. Strange symbols lined the halls, and the air was filled with a subtle hum that Ethan could feel vibrating in his chest. Guards in blue and silver uniforms moved silently, watching his every step. He noticed the Queen's throne in the center of the great hall, raised on a platform so tall it seemed untouchable. And behind it, standing slightly hidden, was a small figure, a child. The child had large eyes, shining like the light of the palace itself, and pale, almost translucent skin. Ethan could not tell the child's age. There was a quiet grace in every movement. And yet, there was fear in the child's eyes. The Queen, Lyrana, was a striking figure. She wore a robe of deep purple with gold threads that seemed to move like liquid. Her face was sharp and serious, her eyes cold and measuring. Ethan had read reports about her. Of course, she was respected and feared throughout the Empire. No one dared speak unless spoken to. As the court gathered, Ethan stepped forward and bowed slightly, trying to show respect. The noble Xyrathi present barely acknowledged him. Whispers moved like shadows across the room. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with outright suspicion. Humans were rare in this empire, and even a single human could upset the delicate balance of power. Ethan delivered his message clearly and carefully. He spoke of Earth's interest in friendship, in trade, in mutual learning. He tried to make his voice steady, but he could feel the weight of the court's gaze pressing down on him. Every word was measured, every gesture watched. When he finished, he stepped back, hoping the ceremony would end without incident. Then, the child moved. Kalira stepped out from behind the throne, her small hand extended toward Ethan. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The court went silent, and even the Queen leaned forward, her sharp eyes narrowing. The child's voice, soft but firm, said words that Ethan could hardly believe. "Father." Ethan froze. He looked at the child, then at the Queen, then back at the child again. I think you are mistaken," he said carefully. Kalira shook her head. Her eyes, glowing faintly, met his with a confidence that was impossible for someone so young. "You are my father. I know it." The silence in the hall was complete. Guards stopped moving. Nobles froze mid-step, and even the light seemed to dim slightly, as if the palace itself held its breath. Ethan's mind raced. What could this mean? Was this a joke? A test? Queen Lyrana rose slowly from her throne, her long robe brushing the floor. "He is not mistaken," she said, her voice calm but carrying the weight of authority. "The child has chosen you." Ethan felt a cold shiver run down his spine. "Chosen me? For what?" he asked, unsure if he wanted the answer. The Queen raised her hand, and the guards moved back, giving them space. "You will come with me," she said. "There are things you need to understand before the court decides what this means." Ethan followed her through a corridor of glowing walls, Kalira walking between them, her small hand brushing lightly against Ethan's. Every step made him feel more confused, more afraid. and strangely, more responsible. He had not come here to take care of a child. Certainly not an alien child from a powerful empire. Yet, as he looked at her, he felt something he could not explain, a pull, a connection. In a private chamber, the queen gestured for them to sit. The room was filled with soft light and alien symbols etched into the walls. Kalira sat quietly on a cushion, watching Ethan closely. He could see the intelligence in her eyes, the sense that she understood more than she should for her age. "You may be wondering why this child called you father," Queen Lyrana said, "and why the court reacted the way it did." Ethan nodded, trying to speak calmly. "Yes, I do not understand." Lyrana took a deep breath. Kalira was born with a rare gift. She can sense the true nature of those around her. Most children do not understand it, but she does. She chooses who she trusts, who she believes will protect her and guide her. Ethan looked at the child. Kalira's gaze did not waver. She did not smile or nod. She simply looked at him with a certainty that made his heart pound. "So, she thinks I can protect her?" Ethan asked. "Yes," the queen said. "She has never accepted anyone before, and she has chosen you. This is not a title we give lightly. In our culture, for a child to call someone father is to declare that person as guardian, protector, and guide. It carries great responsibility." Ethan swallowed. He had never felt more unprepared for anything in his life. "But I am human. I do not know your ways, your customs. I cannot lead here." Kalira stepped closer, her small hand reaching for his again. "You can," she said softly. "I know you can." The queen watched silently, her expression unreadable. "The Empire faces danger," she said finally. "There are rebels who wish to harm Kalira, to prevent her from becoming the future queen. She has chosen you because she senses you can protect her when others cannot. The court does not understand yet, but they will see." Ethan's mind swirled. Danger. Protection. A child. Rebels. A powerful empire. This was far more than a diplomatic mission. This was a test of courage, of strength, of something he had never been asked to do before. Kalira took another step closer, and Ethan felt the weight of responsibility settle over him like a heavy cloak. I do not know if I can do this," he admitted. "You will," the queen said. "You have no choice now. Whether you understand it or not, you are part of this, part of her life, and part of the Empire's future. If you fail, many will suffer. If you succeed, you will change the course of history." Ethan looked at Kalira, then at the queen. The child's small hand in his felt warm, alive, and full of trust. The weight of her choice pressed on him, and for the first time in his life, he understood what it meant to be needed in a way that could not be ignored. "I will try," he said finally, his voice steadying. "I will protect her." The queen nodded. "Good. Then your journey begins. The court must be told in time, and the rebels will not wait. Prepare yourself, human. The life you knew is gone." Ethan sat back, trying to calm his racing heart. The sun outside the palace seemed less bright, the world less familiar. But Kalira's small hand in his reminded him that sometimes destiny chooses for you. And there was no turning back. Outside the chamber, the palace seemed quiet again. But Ethan could hear the whispers of guards and nobles. Somewhere, in the shadowed corners of the Empire, the danger waited. He had only begun to understand the depth of what was coming. And yet, when Kalira looked at him and repeated the word father, he felt a strange hope growing inside him, a hope that together they could face whatever the universe would send their way. For the first time, Ethan realized that being chosen meant more than honor or duty. It meant courage, love, and the willingness to step into the unknown. And he would not step back, no matter what came. The palace doors closed behind him, the glow of the alien light washing over him and Kalira, as the human and the child who called him father prepared to face a world that had never seen anything like them before. Ethan Cole sat quietly in the private chamber, still trying to understand everything that had happened. The palace corridors echoed with the soft hum of energy, but here, in the small room with Queen Lyrana and the child, Kalira, the air felt heavy with secrets. He looked at the child, who was drawing patterns in the light that seemed to dance on the floor. "Kalira," he said softly, unsure if he should speak. "Why did you choose me?" The child looked up, her large eyes shining. "Because I know you will protect me," she said simply. "I can feel it. You are strong and kind. You do not lie. You are my father, even if you do not understand it yet." Ethan shook his head, still confused. "I do not know how to be a father to someone like you. I do not even know your people, or your rules, or what is expected." The queen spoke, her voice calm but firm. "This is why you must stay. You must learn. And quickly. Kalira's life is not safe. There are those who wish to take her, to stop her from becoming what she is meant to be. You were chosen for a reason, human, and now, you cannot leave." Ethan swallowed hard. "Danger? What kind of danger?" "The Empire has enemies," Lyrana said. "Not outside, but inside. There are nobles who do not accept the child as the future queen. They fear a human, chosen, as her guardian. Some have already tried to infiltrate the palace, to harm her. And there are whispers of a greater plan, one that may come to light soon." Ethan felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He had faced difficult negotiations and tense meetings, but this was different. This was life and death. And it was not just for him. It was for the child who had already chosen him, and for an entire empire. Kalira spoke quietly, almost to herself. "They are afraid, because they do not understand." Ethan looked at her. "Who is afraid?" "The nobles," she said. "The ones who whisper. They think humans cannot be trusted. They do not see what I see." Ethan nodded slowly. "I will protect you, Kalira. I promise." The queen studied him for a long moment. "Words are easy. Actions are harder. If you truly want to keep her safe, you must be ready to face what is coming. And you must learn our ways. You must learn to move in this palace as one of us, not just as a human outsider." Ethan looked at her and then back at Kalira. The weight of responsibility pressed on him like never before. He had agreed to protect the child, but now he realized that protecting her meant more than standing guard. It meant understanding the people, the politics, the traditions of a world very different from his own. For the next hours, Ethan sat with the queen as she explained the child's role in the empire. Kalira, the queen said, was not just any child. She had been born with abilities that were rare, even among the Zyrathi. She could sense the truth in people, see intentions that were hidden, and choose allies that others would not trust. The fact that she had chosen Ethan was a sign of great potential and trust. "You must understand, Ethan," the queen said. "Her choice carries meaning. The moment she calls someone father, that person becomes part of her life in ways you cannot imagine. You are no longer just a visitor. You are part of this empire. Now." Ethan nodded slowly. The words sank in, heavy and real. "I will do my best," he said. "Even if I fail, I will not leave her." "Good," the queen said. "Because leaving is not an option. There are those who will not stop until they have what they want. And you must be ready." As the day moved on, Ethan tried to walk through the palace halls, learning the layout, the rules, and the people. He noticed whispers behind every corner, and the stares of nobles who did not trust him. Kalira walked beside him, small hand in his, guiding him through the maze of corridors. "You must be careful," she whispered. "Some do not like humans. Some will try to test you." Ethan nodded. "I understand." They reached a large balcony overlooking the city. The sun was low in the sky, painting the towers and streets in gold. Ethan looked at the vast empire, so different from Earth, and felt the weight of his new role. This was no longer a simple mission. This was a life that had been handed to him, one that he could not refuse. "You see this," Kalira said, pointing at the city. "This is where I will rule one day. And I need someone to protect me until then. You are that person." Ethan looked at her, then back at the city. "I will protect you, Kalira. I do not know how yet, but I will." The queen called them back inside. Guards and attendants watched silently as they passed. The court would learn of the child's choice soon, but for now, Ethan's role remained private. That was for his safety and hers. That night, Ethan could not sleep. He sat by the window of his chamber, looking out at the city lights and thinking of the words Kalira had spoken. The child had chosen him, and now he was tied to the fate of an entire empire. A soft knock came at the door. It was Leah Parker, a human security officer assigned to the diplomatic team. "I heard," she said quietly, stepping inside. "I thought you should know. There are rumors in the palace already. Some nobles are planning to challenge you, test you. They want to see if you are worthy of the child's trust." Ethan nodded. "I know. I have to earn it. Not just for Kalira, but for the Empire as well. But how do I start?" Leah smiled faintly. "By learning. By watching. By understanding how they think and act. And by staying alert. There is danger here, Ethan. The palace is beautiful, but it is not safe. Not for her, and not for you." Ethan felt the truth in her words. He had faced danger before, but never like this. This was a web of politics, loyalty, and power, and he was right in the middle of it. The next day, the court gathered again. Ethan and Kalira were led to the throne room. The nobles waited, their faces filled with curiosity, suspicion, and quiet anger. Ethan could feel their judgment pressing down on him. Kalira stepped forward, small but confident. "This is my father," she said, her voice carrying through the hall. "He will protect me, and he is my guide." The court fell silent. Ethan looked around, trying to read the expressions. Some were shocked. Some whispered. Others simply stared, unsure of what to do. The queen nodded at him, and for the first time, Ethan felt a surge of courage. He stepped forward, his voice calm but strong. "I am honored to protect Kalira. I will do everything in my power to keep her safe, and I will serve this empire as best I can." The room remained quiet, but slowly, a few nods appeared. The queen spoke again. "Ethan Cole has accepted the role chosen by Kalira. He is now part of our family. Let this be known to all." Whispers spread like fire through the court. Some accepted it with respect, some with doubt. But one thing was clear. Ethan had changed the dynamic of the empire. A human had been chosen by the child of the queen, and there was no turning back. As the day ended, Ethan walked through the palace halls, Kalira beside him. The city outside glowed with the last light of the sun. He thought of the danger ahead, the challenges, and the enemies who would come. But he also thought of the child who had trusted him, who had called him father. And he felt a strange strength, a determination to face whatever came. Ethan had never imagined a life like this. He had traveled to many worlds, met countless beings, and negotiated treaties. But this was different. This was personal. And for the first time, he understood what it meant to be chosen, to have destiny handed to you, and to rise to meet it. Kalira squeezed his hand gently. "They will not understand now," she said softly. "But they will see." Ethan nodded. "Yes, they will see." And together, they walked through the palace, ready to face the challenges that awaited them. And the journey of a human, a child, and a queen was only just beginning. The next morning, Ethan Cole woke to a quiet palace, but the silence did not calm him. He could still feel the weight of responsibility pressing on his chest. Kalira slept nearby, her small breathing soft and steady, but Ethan could not relax. Something in the palace had shifted. The nobles whispered, the guards watched more closely, and he knew that their peace was fragile. Leah Parker entered the room quietly, carrying a datapad. "Ethan, the palace has reports," she said. "There are movements in the outer halls. Some nobles are acting strangely." Ethan frowned. "An attack? Here? In the palace?" "Yes," Leah said. "Not all of them are loyal. Some want to kidnap Kalira or challenge her role as heir. You need to be ready." Ethan nodded. He had promised to protect Kalira. And now that promise was about to be tested. "Show me the layout of the palace." "We need a plan." Leah brought him to a quiet chamber and projected a 3D map of the palace. The corridors twisted and turned like a maze, with hidden passages, secret doors, and guard stations. "We can use this," Leah said. "We need to anticipate their movements and cover the child." Ethan studied the map carefully. He could feel his heart racing, but his mind focused. He would not fail. Kalira's trust depended on him. Night fell quickly over the Zyrathi Empire. The glowing towers of the city lit up, casting long shadows over the palace. Ethan and Kalira moved quietly through the halls, accompanied by Leah and a few loyal guards. The child clung to his hand, and Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the corridor. A faint click, almost like a whisper. Ethan froze and signaled for the group to stop. "They are here," he whispered. From the shadows, masked figures emerged, moving swiftly and silently. Their weapons glowed with a faint blue energy. Ethan's heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay calm. He remembered the training he had received on Earth for security situations. But this was far different. This was a palace full of traps, and the attackers were skilled and determined. "Get the child to safety," Ethan said to Leah. He stepped forward, positioning himself between Kalira and the intruders. The attackers advanced. Ethan dodged a strike from one of the weapons and grabbed a second attacker's arm, using his momentum to push the figure into the wall. The guards moved quickly to block the other attackers, but there were too many. Kalira stayed close, but her eyes were wide with fear. Ethan's mind raced. He could not let them take her. Not for a second. He pushed one attacker away, narrowly avoiding a glowing blade, and shouted to Leah, "Move her to the hidden passage." "Now!" Leah grabbed Kalira's hand and ran, following the secret corridor Ethan had memorized from the map. The attackers tried to follow, but Ethan and the guards blocked their path, buying time. Queen Lirana appeared at the end of the hall, her robe flowing like water. She raised her hands, and a bright energy surged from her fingertips. The attackers stumbled, some thrown back by the force. The queen's power was immense, and for a moment, the hall fell silent except for the hum of energy. Ethan took the chance to move. He darted down another corridor, checking that Kalira was safe. The child looked up at him, trust and fear mixing in her eyes. "Father," she whispered. Ethan felt a surge of determination. He would protect her, no matter what. "I've got you," he said firmly. "No one will touch you." They reached a small chamber that Ethan had seen in the map. It was hidden behind a sliding wall, empty except for some storage crates. He placed Kalira behind a stack of crates and turned to face the approaching attackers. The fight in the hall continued. Ethan moved with precision, blocking attacks and pushing intruders back. He was tired, but he refused to fall. Every movement mattered. Every second bought time for Kalira. Leah returned briefly, checking the child. "She's okay for now," she said, her voice tight with worry. "But more will come. We need to hold the palace together." Ethan nodded. "We will. We have to." Minutes passed like hours. The attackers tried to find another way into the hidden chamber, but Ethan and the loyal guards blocked every path. Finally, the Queen's energy surged again, and a wave of force pushed the remaining intruders back. The silence after the fight was almost deafening. Ethan leaned against the wall, breathing heavily, and looked at Kalira. She had watched everything, but she did not cry. She only looked at him with eyes full of trust. "You did well," she said softly. Ethan shook his head. "No. We did well. You stayed calm, and that helped me think clearly. You're stronger than I realized." Kalira smiled faintly. "I know you are strong too. That is why I chose you." Ethan's heart ached with a mix of relief and fear. He had kept her safe tonight, but he knew this was only the beginning. The palace was not fully secure, and the nobles who opposed them would not give up easily. The next day, the Queen called him to the throne room. The court gathered once more, and this time, the atmosphere was tense. The nobles had heard of the attempted attack, and many of them were angry that a human had been involved in defending the child. Ethan stood beside Kalira, who held his hand tightly. The Queen spoke first, her voice echoing through the hall. "Tonight, my child faced danger. A human, chosen by Kalira herself, protected her from harm. Let this be known to all. He is now part of our family, and he will stand as her guardian." Some nobles whispered angrily. Others stared, unsure of what to do. One elderly noble, Varkon, stepped forward. His voice was low and dangerous. "This is unacceptable. A human cannot protect a Zyrathi child." Queen Lirana's eyes narrowed. "Your tradition is not stronger than the life of my child. Kalira has chosen, and her choice is final. Ethan Cole has proven himself. That is all that matters." Varkon clenched his fists but said no more. He had faced danger where they had not dared to act. Ethan looked at Kalira. She gave him a small smile, proud and trusting. He realized that this was the beginning of their bond, and that nothing could break it. In the days that followed, Ethan continued to learn the ways of the palace. He trained with the guards, learned the rules of etiquette, and studied the hidden corridors and chambers. Kalira was always with him, her presence a reminder of why he could not fail. The palace was still dangerous. Rumors of rebellion grew, and Ethan knew that another attack could come at any time. But he felt ready. He had faced his first challenge and survived. He had protected the child who had chosen him, and he knew that his journey had only begun. One evening, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the city, Kalira spoke softly. "They do not understand us yet," she said. "But they will. You are my father, and they will see your strength." Ethan nodded, looking at the glowing towers. "Yes, they will. And we will be ready for whatever comes." For the first time, he felt a deep sense of purpose. He was no longer just a diplomat. He was a protector, a guardian, and a father to a child who had chosen him. The palace, the empire, and the dangerous nobles around them were no longer just obstacles. They were challenges he was ready to face. The night air was cool and quiet, and the city lights sparkled below. Ethan held Kalira's hand, feeling the warmth and trust in her grip. He knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult. But he also knew one truth. He would never abandon her, no matter what dangers came. The Zyrathi Empire had tested him, and he had passed. The rebels had attacked, And he had survived. The child had chosen him, and he had accepted. Now, they were ready for the next challenge, and together, they would face the unknown. Ethan looked at Kalira, and she looked back with unwavering trust. In that moment, he realized that being chosen was not a burden, but a gift. It was the beginning of a journey that would change both their lives and the fate of the Empire. And as the palace slept quietly under the alien sky, Ethan felt a deep determination grow within him. He would protect Kalira, he would face the dangers ahead, and he would prove that humanity could rise to challenges that even the strongest of alien empires could not imagine.